Patricia Bebia is the president and CEO of Diamond Plus Media, as well as the executive vice president and co-owner of Afroglobal Television, a 24-hour television channel currently available on Rogers Cable, Bell Fibe, Eastlink, and TELUS across Canada. Host of Planet Africa, she has directed and produced over 15 television programs, including Standing Ovation. Patricia is the writer and director of the drama series Omobella Palace. In 2024, Patricia released her feature film, The Life Coach, to international acclaim and won the Audience Choice Award at CTFF. She is the associate publisher of Excellence, Envision, and Destiny magazines. Patricia has been featured on CNN International in a half-hour special. She co-authored the 150 Extraordinary Canadians Legacy book. She is a recipient of numerous awards, including the BPPA Harry Jerome Award for Media and the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal. She co-founded the Crossover Mentorship Program, a youth empowerment initiative. Patricia served as chair of the Real World Foundation and was appointed to the advisory board of Trebas Institute, part of the global university system.
Wow.
Patricia.
Amazing, amazing. Oh my goodness. I get to interview my own icon. This is amazing. Patricia Bebia.
Yes, hi Alex.
Hi Alex, yes, a long time in the making. I've always admired your work, and that is true. I say this all the time. I know sometimes you feel uneasy with it. I consider you the Oprah Winfrey of Canada, and that's in a few years that will be an understatement, really, because you have done tremendously well. From my research on you, you've been doing this for 4 decades. I was only 2 years old when you started. So how's the journey been? Tell me, just summarize your journey. 40-year journey from when you were 5 years old or 8 years old.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm just 25. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, but it's interesting. I mean, it's the first time I'm hearing somebody say it's almost 4 decades, and it's true because I started to host a TV show in my teenage years. I was a first-year university student when I was approached to host a TV show. After moderating a play that I wrote in church. And after that, I got to work at another TV station when I was doing my youth service in Nigeria, and ended up hosting a daily talk show in Lagos called Launch Date prior to coming to Canada. And I mean, I got here exactly 25 years ago now. And 2 years after I came to Canada, got to, start co-produce and host a TV show called Planet Africa, which is still on the air today on Omni TV. And in 2016, we launched our own 24-hour TV channel. And we've also run other media properties like magazines. We produce over 20 titles for different countries and organizations. And we have our own 3 regularly scheduled magazines. And we produced 2 events, major events that have brought, great people from all over the world, including Bernice King, the daughter of Martin Luther King Jr., Portia Simpson Miller, who was the first female prime minister of Jamaica, Wole Soyinka, Nobel Prize winner, and people like that were brought to the city. And we just, our goal is to inspire people of African descent wherever they are in the world to aspire for greater levels of success and to share their stories, their success stories with the world, and to celebrate them. So those are the 3 things that we have been focused on to inspire them, to celebrate their success stories, and to create unity among them. Because the Black community is very diverse. Those born on the continent, the Caribbean, born here, and elsewhere in the world, like we have African Americans. So wherever you're from, Afro Caribbean, Afro Brazilian, Afro, whatever, you're part of our vision. And so that's what we've done, so far till this point.
I know you just kind of give us give us a snippet of it. There's a lot. When you were talking and you were mentioning Wole Soyinka, Portia Simpsons and all these Bernice King, I want us to dive right into it. By the way, welcome to the Canadian Congress, right? We created this platform years ago, and it's really to facilitate conversations like this, to bring about equitable justice in different spheres of the community in your area, media. We've had the opportunity and honor to interview some media giants as well. But since you've interviewed these leaders, what would you say is one thing you've learned about leadership that you are so sure this is leadership? Keeping in mind that we're in such a time as this, UK has seen 5 prime ministers in the last 6 years. Like, they keep dropping like flies. The US dropping like flies. Canada dropping like flies. Now people used to say Africa needs to grow in leadership, but it's obvious that the West needs to grow in leadership as well. So what is one thing you've learned from all these prime ministers and all these giants and leaders and icons, as you call them, about leadership that we should all remember, especially in such a time as this?
Wow. I think one of the things that I've learned is, that leadership is all about, caring. If you do not truly care, you cannot be a good leader. Because ultimately, people, want to achieve their full potential. They want to put food on the table. They want to live meaningful lives, and they're looking for leadership that will help them to achieve those objectives. And if a leader is in a position just, to glorify themselves or to do the things that they want to do, then they're not necessarily, leading. They're actually sort of implementing an agenda. So I like to borrow this quote from, Peter Drucker, where it says that leadership is lifting a person's vision to high heights and raising of a person's performance to a higher standard and building of a personality beyond its normal limitations. So for me, leadership is about helping others to look beyond their limitations and to aspire for greater levels of success in whatever they're doing.
Fantastic, fantastic. With that definition in mind, what are the barriers you have had to cross to get to where you are? Because we can all have these dreams, we can all have this aspiration, but the truth of the matter is you're a woman, you're Black, and you're minoritized. And I can perceive an accent as well.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe I'm talking to myself, except for the woman part.
Yeah, a lot of barriers there, right? Especially coming from a country, like Nigeria, for instance, and coming to a place like Canada, there were a lot of barriers when I came. I mean, I was told that I would never be on TV again because I had an accent, and people actually told me what they thought would be my future in this country. But I'll say, some of the challenges I've personally faced are the lack of opportunities for our community in different spheres. So because opportunities are limited, it makes it very difficult for people to aspire for roles that they think they should, be in. So that in itself it's a barrier right there. And also lack of resources, so lack of funding. And I remember when we wanted to launch a TV channel, it was daunting. I remember we called you, Alex, and you were one of the consultants that we sat down with. We say, what do we do? And this is because we don't really have a lot of role models as a minority, community. We don't have a lot of role models that have done certain things, like launching a TV channel, for instance. So we didn't know what to do, and but we did rally around, some great minds and some people at that time. So I would say, lack of resources, lack of mentorship, a lack of opportunities, and also the other thing is perception. So the image that people see of us does not, sort of coincide or does not conform, or it's not kind of parallel with what we want to aspire to be. So sometimes when you're aspiring for more than society has kind of labeled you as, or the box that they've put you in, it's almost like swimming against the waves. So you kind of work extra hard and always, you're always trying to prove yourself. I think these are some of the main challenges that I personally have faced in my journey, just trying to do what we do.
And when you were listing this journey, they are not different from what we face. I used to work in the bank as a corporate banker, or every other person I'm facing here today. So how did you overcome them? Right? You talked about lack of funding, lack of mentorship and perception, and of course, racism, discrimination based on accent, color, gender, and all that. What's your advice to people listening to you today and say, hey, I've been trying to get a promotion, it's just not working. Or, hey, I've been trying to break through in the media world, it's just not working. What are maybe 1, 2, or even 3 things you know that you've done and they've worked for you and likely will work for some other people?
First of all, I believe that success is an external expression of work that has already happened, or things already happened in the inside of you. So first of all, what is it that you want to do? What is your purpose? Once you have that strong conviction of your purpose, for instance, for us, I mentioned the 3 things I wanted to do: to bring dignity and respect people of African descent, to unite the community, and to inspire us to aspire for greater levels of success. So those are the things that we set out to do. And these are lofty, dreams, right? Plans. But these 3 things are so important. Like, if you are a mother or father, you want your children to live in a society that not only embraces them, but recognizes their potential to achieve whatever they want to achieve in life. And if those things are lacking, it puts limitations on their dreams, limitations on their potential, limitations on what they can achieve. So once we settled the purpose, what we wanted to do, I feel like that became the driving force. It gave us the confidence to say, hey, this has to be done. We need a TV channel that's catering to this community. We're able to speak to corporate to say, look, this is important. Our young people need to see positive images of themselves on TV. This is why we're doing this. So once you convince yourself, then you can convince others to buy into your vision. So I said the first thing is that personal conviction of what your purpose is and what you want to do with your business, or if you're working, why are you doing that job? How is the job resonating with you as a person? So that's number 1. Number 2 is believing in yourself. I had an accent. Yes, people, when I came to Canada, my accent was even worse than it is now. I'm sure a little bit of Canada has rubbed off on me now, but I was confident. I believed in myself, and I knew that, this is my path. I mean, this is all I knew how to do by the time I came to Canada. So I pursued that path. Even when I had no, I didn't take no for an answer. We got a few no's, so I wanted to, launch a TV show on mainstream television, but we didn't give up. We kept on going until we got a yes, right? And the other thing is to be innovative, to be creative. Like when we launched the channel, for instance, we needed millions of dollars to launch a 24-hour TV channel, but we didn't have that. We had to be creative. We had to rally our network. Like you always say, Alex, you have to learn how to use your network, to increase your net worth. So we did that, and so learn to not only network, but how do you utilize that network that you have to get what you want and to achieve your purpose. So that's number 2. And thirdly, excellence. Excellence is everything. There was a time that a gentleman saw a magazine and he called us. He called our office and said, just flipping through this magazine made me so proud. I just called to say, thanks for what you're doing and how can I help? And this individual ended up, just investing. I think he became the largest, advertiser of in the history of our organization, but we never reached out to him. Our work reached out to him. The excellence that, we stood for actually went before us. So I would say just make sure that excellence is your watchword. It's not just something that you stand for, but something that you insist on, that you intentionally do. And lastly, know who your audience are and make sure you're targeting them. I mean, there are many more, but I mean, time is of the essence. So I just leave you with this few.
Absolutely. I was actually enjoying them. I wanted you to continue. Yeah, a prolific speaker, I must add, not just a media personality. But let's even go a little bit deeper. I believe, I'm a crazy guy. Everybody knows that. I believe that the media has a significant role to play in the promotion of racism I believe the media has caused more harm than good. Now they can do more good than harm. That's me. I believe the educational system, don't forget there were books used in school that were telling kids that blacks are monkeys. And for generations, they use those. The books are still on Amazon. So the media, the education, and of course, we can talk about the police and the legal system. But let's focus on the media. What's your take on the role of the media? How have they contributed to the mess we find ourselves? And how can they also contribute to taking us from that mess?
Yes. The importance of the media in shaping the narrative of a people cannot be underestimated or undermined, because there has been no movement in the history of the world that was successful without the media coming on board. So anytime there was, people rose up against the people, the media contributed. Whenever there was a genocide, the people contributed. Just name any crisis in the world that happened, the media contributed. The media is like this big entity that brands everything, that helps us. It shapes our social consciousness. It shapes how we see things. And I mean, up till now, before social media, people relied on the media. So when you keep seeing things in the media, it reinforces, whatever biases you had. And I say, for instance, the Black community, our brand has been completely fractured, and it's a brand that our children I don't want to identify with. Because I mean, I remember once my little girl was having a conversation with me, and she said, "Mom, why can't I be white?" She was very little. She didn't understand that you can't just change it. So she's like, "Why can't?" So when I began to ask, "Why don't you want to be Black?" And he started to tell me all these things. When I boiled it down, most of the things that she was saying had a lot to do with images that she saw. Mm. So the images that our children see, if they keep seeing negative images about themselves, about people that look like them, it actually, affects their confidence. It affects their ability to, to see themselves. I mean, they say you cannot be what you do not see, right? So it affects them. And also, one thing I always say is that what the media shows about a group of people is a difference between them having a job or not, getting killed by the police or not, and sometimes even getting the healthcare that they need. Have you ever heard stories of how sometimes people from a certain minority go to the hospital and they just kind of left, somewhere, and they end up dying, or the police is racist? That police officer being racist, society made him racist. The things that he saw on TV and magazines and the news and all those things have reinforced that, notion in him that this group of people are this way. And when next they encounter those people, they behave a certain way. I tell you, for one of the things, stories I always tell, when Michael Jean became Governor General, two headlines from mainstream organizations that really shocked me. One said, "Refugee becomes Governor General." I was like, come on. Another one said, "From the ghettos of Port-au-Prince to Parliament Hill." Can you imagine that? This woman, in her most, I say, elevated moment, they've still found a way to slip in something negative. It's like when we're featured on CNN, for instance. I mean, my mom called me from Nigeria and said, "Hey, come on, I'm seeing you on CNN, and they're saying, from being homeless to running the largest Black media organization," something like that. And I thought, what? That was not what we're talking about in this interview. What has been? Yes, I was homeless at some point when I was in Canada for some months, but how did that become the headline of this? They came to feature us because they thought we were doing amazing stuff, but it ended up that way. So I find the media is hungry to portray a certain group of people in a certain way, and that's why I'm very passionate about what I do. And sometimes it's not just the stories that are told, is who is telling the story, because everybody tells a story from their reality. So you can only share what you know. You can only speak from what you know, what you believe and what you understand. And sometimes when even stories are told of certain minority groups um, by people who don't understand, it's still a biased story for the most part. And this is very damaging. As I said, it's a matter of life and death. In certain cases, it's a matter of, survival in certain instances, and even a matter of, extinction in certain instances, as we've seen with genocide. So the place of the media is so important that I think we as a society, it's time that we hold the media accountable and boycott media organizations that perpetuate stories that continually put a certain group of minorities down.
So you have, I mean, you have summarized it perfectly well. So what is one thing, that the media, let's assume you are speaking to the CNN folks right now, you're speaking to the Global Mail, you're speaking to CTV. You're already doing it, obviously, but out of all the things you're doing in your media organization, what is one you would advise them to be doing, or maybe two? Go ahead.
Give a balanced narrative of the stories that you tell. When you talk about Africa, and every time it's about poverty, war, crime, and all that, that is not a balanced narrative. There are a lot of good things that happen in Africa. Why should somebody think that people live on trees, or that we don't have running water, electricity, or skyscrapers, or all those things in Africa in 2025? It's because the media is only, focused. They're stopped on showing the negative things. So you go to Africa, you're telling a story, and you go to the villages and show the worst. But how did you get to the village? You actually landed in the airport, maybe in a big city with skyscrapers, with electricity, with good roads, and then you drove to the countryside. It's like coming to Canada and going, to show the homeless people in the, downtown Toronto. But that's not all there is to Toronto. There are lots of great things about this city. So it's the same thing. Share a balanced narrative. I'm not saying just show only the positive about, our community or other minority communities, but I'm saying tell a balanced story. We have a lot of amazing things too. Right now, Afrobeat is the #1 music in the entire world. I was in France the other day, and I went from one city to the next, and I'm hearing Afrobeats everywhere. What about our fashion? What about our culture of respect and honor, and our sense of community? There's just so many good things that can, be, discussed about our community. And I tell you, once I actually submitted a proposal for a documentary, and the funder did call me to say, look, I want to support your organization, but positive stories about Africa doesn't sell, and I thought, what?
My goodness.
And I'm like, he told it right to my face. I'm like, I cannot believe this. And I said, I would not, and you would never see a negative story on our television channel or magazines, because the mainstream media does enough of that. Our goal is to showcase positive stories that will elevate, inspire, because we know that there are lots of positive stories out there, and we're out to look for them and tell them. And I know if the mainstream media should just take off those glasses, the bias lenses, they will see so many positive stories as well.
I wasn't even expecting that. I've asked this question to many people. They say, oh, we need to see more Black people on TV. But your own that is secondary. First, just balance the information that is being shown. That is huge. Listen, we have a few minutes left. We have to bring you back to the Congress. All right. But you made a movie. And by the way, those watching, you're seeing Patricia Bebia. And she has this movie out, The Life Coach. I will be playing the trailer right after to conclude the interview, but I want us to spend the next few minutes to share, why did you make this movie? Why is it important to you? And what are the next steps with it?
Yeah, so the movie is called The Life Coach. It's the story of, this man who had a traumatic childhood, and in his adult life is, being tormented by, the trauma of his past. But he's trying to make a difference as a life coach. He's impacting a lot of lives, but has a secret life that he's trying to hide from the public because he's afraid that if he's found out, he will lose everything. So he's dealing with mental health, challenges. And I really wanted to tell this story because we're in an era of, you know, diminishing authenticity in people's lives. I mean, with social media, we're always, showing the best of ourselves, and nobody's going through anything. Everybody is perfect. So I wanted to, deal with the topics of mental health and the importance of authenticity, the importance of community support and us being there for each other, of love. Some of the things that are just so simple but are lacking. Being able to allow somebody to, help you out when you're in trouble or even ask for help. So it's a movie that I think is going to help us as a society to think twice about, some things that are prevalent in today's society. But I wanted to just talk about these themes and also get us to know that we can go through things, but we can keep sailing always in spite of everything that we go through, because the only thing that's constant is change. And with change, every time you change, I believe you grow, but growing has pains, right? There's growing pains. So but then you can thrive if you actually just have a few tools, which you need to watch the movie to find out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, I'm going to the trailer. I think it's about 2 minutes. I'll keep the 2 minutes to play, but allow me to appreciate you for the extraordinary work you're doing. Not just in the media. You could have just been in the media and be in the media. There are many people that are known for the media and nothing else. But you are in the community. You are blazing trail. You are setting standard. You are raising the bar, and you are putting yourself in the line of fire. And also, you are stretching the boundary. Now getting into the movie industry. So, and also to thank you. When I wrote my book 14 years ago, I was calculating in my head, you gave me the first interview on your show, Planet Africa. I remember very well. And you've been supportive over the years, not just of me, but of people around the community. So where can people find you? Where can they find the movie? And your last word in a minute or two.
Yeah, so well, you can find the movie soon in theaters near you. We do have a website, thelifecoachfilm.com. We also have, very active and thriving social media pages. We're on Instagram and Facebook, The Life Coach Film. So you can follow us and see what's coming up. And my social media as well is, Patricia Bebia. And my last word is, it's been said that you cannot legislate hearts. I think each and every one of us, we need to search ourselves and ask ourselves, just like Martin Luther King, said, the fierce and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And we're here discussing diversity and leadership. I want to ask us, what are you doing for other people that are not necessarily like you, to ensure that we all have a seat at the table? As I said, sometimes the matter of life and death. And what goes around comes around. If this group is not doing well, eventually all groups are not going to be doing well. So let's remember that and look up to each other. My last one.
Wow, thank you so much. And here is the trailer for us to see.
Life is stupid or talking.
Swimming, drowning, or sailing?
I have what he called developmental delays.
Come on.
Get out.
I think he has mental illness.
He's not my son.
He's a bastard! I feel like I'm about to lose everything, and I'm so helpless.
We don't have a few more minutes.
You know?
Rise and rise again, till the lambs become lions!
Let's have it, let's go!
I feel like a fraud, Leon.
Business people act on logical facts.
We wronged you greatly, and I'm sorry. Forgive me.
I really want to thank you for helping Leon find me. You saved my life.
It's not that bad. Murchison?
You still can't talk.
Please. Jerry!
This is a child who was rejected by his own father.
We've turned the world upside down. No goodbye hug?
Remember, keep sailing always.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Congratulations to you again, Patricia. It was nice to have you here at the Congress. Well, you've heard it from her. Over to you, Moy and Henry. Let's continue. Take care. God bless you, Patricia.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex.
Okay, bye.